The newest Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum. Not the EDP, the Eau de Parfum. Let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neve. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today it's really hard to keep up with some of these, I swear. Like with the names, etc. It's crazy to me. I tried to find some information in regards to the differences between the Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum versus the Acqua di Gio Profondo Eau de Parfum. Yeah, they're the same thing, you might say, but they're not actually. This is the Eau de Parfum in concentration, and this is the Eau de Parfum, the name of the flanker. So as you can see, there is a little bit of a difference with the presentation. This one has this ombre effect where it goes from the solid blue, I believe it's blue, I'm colorblind, sorry, and it goes into this see-through base. So pretty nice design, nothing new, nothing spectacular. They have downgraded in the general sense of things when we're talking about their caps. They went for a cheaper, more click on basic plastic style versus the once loved. I actually really do love the magnetic caps on the originals and the Parfum, or Profumo, I should say. So this was released in 2024. I picked this up from Spain, and there are quite a few differences in the note breakdown. I got to rock both of these, and I actually sprayed one or a couple of sprays on the left side and a couple of sprays on the right side, and I have a pretty good sense of what these fragrances are. So in general, this is an aromatic, marine, aquatic type of fragrance with some oriental influences coming from some of those resins. There's a slight bit of woodiness to the base of it and some freshness. Obviously, it's going to be fresh overall. This is a fresh summertime and likely to be a more than just summertime fragrance. So you can carry this on into the spring. So spring and summer, this is an excellent fragrance for exactly that. Some of the notes of this one include C notes, bergamot, green mandarin. There's some rosemary, lavender, along with some of that mastic. And then there are some mineral notes, musk, patchouli, and amber in the base for the original. And now in the new one, they only give you like this simple note breakdown. Obviously, it's going to be marine notes and green mandarin. And then in the mid, we have that same rosemary and lavender, along with a base of cedarwood and patchouli. And that pretty much sums up the difference between this fragrance. It's going to be as the note breakdown suggests. So we're going to talk about the top to the mid to the dry down of both of these fragrances. At the top of these fragrances for the original Profondo. So Profondo opens up with a lot of citruses. It's pretty bright. It's attention grabbing. It's very inoffensive and very mass appealing in the opening. You're going to get that aquatic marine vibe fresh along with those citruses, and the aromatics start to shine through right from the beginning, giving it this light, nice, cooling, refreshing effect, specifically coming from that rosemary. There is a slight undertone of that oriental mastic or the resin, which gives it this piney undertone that's really complemented with some of those other woody nuances. So that's for the opening. It's not really anything that's going to be woody just yet, mostly just this aquatic and fresh opening with that mastic undertone. With Acqua di Gio Profondo, however, it opens up very similar, but not as citrus forward. It's not going to be as refreshing, and that mastic and some of those earthy nuances or the cypress, etc., starts to shine through right from the beginning. So in the opening, you get a bolder and more dense scent profile in the opening, less attention grabbing, less, I would say probably going to be a little bit smoother of an opening, not as attention grabbing. Both of these are relatively smooth, but when you add some of those citruses, some of those notes do stand out. And if that's your goal, then the attention factor for the original is going to be higher than the newest Eau de Parfum. So at the top, the Eau de Parfum, the newest flanker, does open up a bit more balanced, a bit more bolder, more alkaline, not as citrus forward, and you have a lot more of those mastics and some of those earthy nuances. And it seems a bit more aromatic as well. And I believe that it's because of the tone down of some of those citruses that the aromatic shines a little bit more in the Eau de Parfum concentration. Now, as we start to get into the mid of both of these fragrances, with the original one, Profondo, not the newest flanker, you're going to sense a lot more of this lavender. It's starting to get warmer. Some of that mastic shines through. You get those earthy nuances coming from that cypress, a little bit of patchouli as well, but it still holds on to some of those citruses at the top. So at the midpoint, it's still attention grabbing. You still have those citruses. It remains refreshing, etc. With the Eau de Parfum concentration, it starts to intensify in those mastics, some of the resins basically, and the earthy nuances. What really starts to shine is this patchouli and that cedarwood base, even in the mid. As both of these start to dry down, the Profondo original, you still maintain a freshness. It's relatively more diffusive, and it seems like it projects just a little bit more. Reason being is you get more of those mineral notes in the dry down. The base of both of these fragrances are quite different. Whereas the Profondo has some of those musks, the mineral notes. It really diffuses a lot lighter in the air, and it seems to project a little bit better through and through from the top to the dry down. Some of those citrus notes, etc., hang on for a long time throughout the life of the fragrance with Acqua di Gio Profondo, the original. Those mineral notes help this one also stand out, adding just a tad bit of saltiness, but it doesn't go off-putting. It's really good, actually. And this is one of my favorite flankers from the entire Acqua di Gio lineup. From the mid to the dry down of the Eau de Parfum flanker, the newest 2024, you're gonna start to notice that those citruses are not really there in the mid to dry down, and it focuses more so just on this aromatic aquatic. So you still keep those marine notes, but you have a lot more focus on those piney resins along with that earthy patchouli and cedar wood. So overall, the more marine aromatic woody fragrance is going to be Eau de Parfum, the newest flanker, and an all-around more attention grabbing is going to be the Profondo. I did enjoy wearing the Eau de Parfum flanker, the newest one, and I love the Profondo, the original one. There are going to be different scenarios and cases for both of these fragrances, and I'm sure there's going to be people who say, you know, I don't really detect too much of a difference, etc. And I can agree with them. There isn't too many of differences. It just seems like they took the newest one, or they took the older one, they stripped off some of those citruses, intensified the earthy nuances and those aromatics, and just rebottled it up. Less playful, less attention grabbing, and for that reason, it's going to be appropriate in different occasions. I find that the Eau de Parfum flanker, the newest one, is going to be more appropriate for those of you who want to smell good, aquatic, marine, etc. for like the office. You don't necessarily want to stand out. You're not going to be outside. You might be inside. You don't want to be offensive, or you just want to smell good. You want to smell masculine, and you want to do it in an upscaled way. It smells like an upscaled marine masculine fragrance for sure. The projection on this one though is not to be slept on. Both of these projected for around 2.5 to 3 hours. Both of these. I sprayed both of these on about 8 times, and they both projected relatively similarly. However, the Profondo is now going to be something that's more appropriate for being outside, you know, just daily activity. You want to smell good, you don't care, you don't mind getting compliments, etc. This is going to be a better one for that. The projection for both of these, although lasted around the same amount of time, this one projected a little bit more, and we're referring to the original Profondo for those of you listening. The Profondo is going to project more, or further I should say, by about a foot because of some of those more volatile and more diffusive notes of the Profondo. Projection for both of these, I'm going to say is safe to say about 2 to 2.5 hours. I will say, however, that the Eau de Parfum, the newest flanker, is going to project for maybe about 1.5 to 2 feet max, whereas the Profondo gave me about 2 to 3 feet of projection for those entire 2 to 2.5 hours. The total longevity on both of these is going to be similar, except the Profondo original only lasts about 7 hours, I would say, whereas the Eau de Parfum concentration gave me about 7 to 8 hours. It really doesn't last that much longer than the Profondo, and it's really just because of some of those denser base notes in the Eau de Parfum newest flanker that it might last just half an hour to an hour longer. It's not something that I would say, oh, that's it, justified, I'll purchase it. Rather, the scent profile of both of these is what you should consider when deciding which one to go with. Overall, though, I think you'd be just fine skipping on the Eau de Parfum newest flanker, and the Profondo is still all around a better fragrance. I think you get much more bang for buck. You also get more accords, etc., more interesting notes in the Profondo than you do with the Eau de Parfum. For me personally, if I go with an Acqua di Gio fragrance, I want all of those citruses. I want that marine note. I want the woodiness, the mastic, all around better fragrance, in my opinion, is still going to remain the Profondo. Projection, performance, they're relatively close. Not a bad fragrance by any means, and I just think that it's only going to serve for those of you who want the same scent profile but find Profondo to be too strong, I guess. There you have it, Profondo versus the newest Profondo Eau de Parfum flanker. Not a bad release, just definitely can be redundant, and I don't think it's a better release. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on both of these fragrances. Make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Till the next one, peace.